What's up, guys? Another one of my infrequent Overwatch videos. Well, today I want to talk about the frequency of hero release primarily, because I think there's a problem with the frequency of heroes as well as how Blizzard is going about it. And let's say off the top of the bat, there's an issue with Sombra. Lots of people have been talking about Sombra. I think she has some serious issues. I won't talk about her here. That is beyond the scope of this video. But let's just talk about her positioning in the class of offense. So what Blizzard did with her is they essentially gave us 7 offensive characters. Now, she's not as effective as other offensive characters, and lots of people have said that, and I agree. And she has a whole bucket of issues to deal with, but that's neither here nor there. They put in that category now 7 different heroes, and two other most important categories in the game. I am obviously jumping over defense here because it's a weird category and just not relevant. Those categories are tanks and support. How many tanks do we have? 5. Some of them are just off tank. So let's talk about the tanks. We got Winston, off tank. We got Diva, off tank. We got Roadhog, pseudo tank. We got Reinhardt, pure tank. We got Zarya, off tank. Then we go to support. We got Symmetra. We hope to the gods that they're working on her because she's completely fucked up and has been for eons. Let's not count her. Healers, we got Lucio, we got Mercy, we got Zenyatta, and we got Ana. Pretty variable there. Many different. I mean, that's a good chunk of abilities right there that are quite varied, and all of them achieve healing in a different way. But we're still talking about 5 support here. So instead of employing what I would think would be a better procedure of trying to even out the ranks of heroes that, rather classes that are lacking, that are missing certain heroes, Blizzard just got into their heads that they wanted this whole Sombra thing. Now, it might be that she started off as kind of support in the beginning and just sort of morphed, and they didn't know really where to place her. And by the time they realized that they were going to put her in offense, they'd already invested so much time and energy, and they simply couldn't go back. It is known, and Blizzard has claimed that on occasion they will, in fact, completely scrap heroes and just start from the drawing board again. But whatever, she's offense. So now we have the problem, as a consequence, of waiting for the next hero, and we all know how long Blizzard likes to take. Now, I'm not faulting Blizzard in some respects, because obviously to make good, authentic heroes because they fit into the story, because Overwatch does have a story. Can't wait for an animated film. I will buy that. To make good, authentic heroes that are not broken and fairly balanced, that's difficult. But I found someone who's mostly a tank and mostly support. Just, okay, there's Sombra. She's weird. Okay, and now we need to wait. Some of my best times playing Overwatch, now they're gone in the past, the good old days, were back in summer when Ana was a new and fresh thing, when people rejected her, and I would argue rather courageously, stood up for her and played her and tried my best to master her, and I think I'm pretty damn good at her by now. But those were really fun times, learning the tricks of the trade, and that was great. And I guess you could say, well, you can do that with Sombra too. Well, sort of, but we already have a deficit in those categories of support and tanks, so why would Blizzard do that? And now we need to wait a really, really long time for the next release. Frankly speaking, I don't think they have the right procedure. I don't have a problem, and I think actually it would be good to release 2 heroes at once that fit into different categories. This would give people more variety. Not everyone would be on the PTR leaving a game the instant somebody else insta-locks Sombra. They don't get to play Sombra. And this would just allow people more flexibility, and because not everyone's going to want to play Sombra, and so the rest of us, I would argue the majority of us, are kind of stuck with the traditional heroes in those classes, all of whom are quite good. It's just, in the case of tanks, we definitely need another pure tank. As I mentioned, the only pure tank we have is Reinhardt, and you can argue with the ascendance of Sombra, or what you call it, her ascendance, that if she can get behind and hack him, his barrier's down, so he'll be, in theory at least, significantly weaker, in theory. But we don't have a pure tank. Whatever the next tank might be, Doomfist, who knows? With regards to healers, or support, it's a little bit more difficult, because we have 4 pretty damn good healers that all fulfill different roles and have different functions. I would argue that with support, you know, it is the choices are actually better in a lot of ways. Whereas you kind of just have to default, at least still in the current meta, before someone comes in out of the PTR, you have to just stick with Reinhardt. Then usually a Zarya. Like Reinhardt Zarya is a near obligatory combination on virtually every map. You can vary it up a bit. Roadhog, Road Swine is really good on those maps where you can hook him into the pit or whatever. And then there's Winston, who you need to know how to play him. Diva too, same category. But yeah, tanks. We need a really good tank. We need a tank that's a proper tank but at the same time is different enough from Reinhardt to motivate people to want to play that tank and get good with that tank. Support, I think, as I said, I'm less insistent on support because we already have 4 really good supports. Symmetra's a mess. They're going to fix her hopefully. But someone who tanks a lot, who plays quite a bit of Reinhardt and fair bit of Zarya and a fair bit of Winston too, and just can play a model more or less decently, some better than others. Not having an alternative to Reinhardt bores me to tears. I'm really drained off Overwatch because there just isn't enough freshness in the game. And Sombra's addition with either playing in an arcade mode with 6 Sombras, which is ridiculous and unrealistic, or a situation like the quick play where they either insta-lock Sombra or you do it and everyone complains and what have you. It's just not a good situation. I think Blizzard does need to up its game and release heroes somewhat more frequently, or if not more frequently, then please 2 at a time. Overwatch still has enormous potential. Let's exploit that potential to its fullest, and let's not let certain classes like tanks, especially tanks, but also support, suffer whilst Blizzard just adds an endless array of new offensive heroes and maybe even defense without thinking about the consequences for the other classes. We need variety. As some people point out, Lucio is the only guy with a speed boost. Well, maybe we need to support that his abilities are basically based on like speed and damage reduction. I mean, who knows? There are different ideas one can implement, but you get my picture or my point here. So everyone, thanks for tuning in. That's all I have to say about this. Greater hero frequency, more variety. It's really needed because I am bored out of my mind with Overwatch right now. So everyone take care, and may the gods watch over you. Bye-bye.